what happened is there was a lot of incidences when it comes to these unexplained phenomena. UFOs actually do exist, and you can say they're aliens, you can say they're not aliens, whatever it is, but there are unidentified flying objects that are being seen all over the world. Okay, now at one point it got so serious that the government felt that they wanted to make sure that these phenomena weren't freaking a threat to the United States. Because there was an instance where for an entire week these UFOs appeared over Washington, freaking one day after another, and it just kept happening.
2 weeks over the White House.
Yeah. Like I said, you can call them UFOs, you can call them aliens, you can call them whatever you want, but they are happening. That by themselves is actually a phenomenon.
Like what happened up there in Canada at the big river.
Big river.
That one, crashed into the river there, and the Canada government with boats and divers and all that went down looking for it and all that, and they were there for a good 3 to 5 days and not a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were showing and they were talking about all these medals on the alien crafts and all that. Okay, and they're saying how the metals at a certain depth and all that can changes the construction of the metal to a different type of metal completely. Well, it's not so bad, but if that's the case, why is it that they cannot replicate something about the radiation coming from the craft itself? It's again an aircraft.
Now, hold on, before you go, I wanted to point out so that Panda know what you're talking about. He's talking about the Shag Harbor UFO incident.
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything about that.
No. I might have.
It happened back in 1967.
Very vaguely. I mean, the Red River thing got my attention, but
yeah, it was a massive government and military search that lasted for days. Like this supposed UFO crashed into Shag Harbor. And they actually searched for it, the Canadian military.
And it just disappeared.
Mm-hmm. It was up by Nova Scotia, I believe. I'm not quite sure about the whole locations and everything, where everything is, but I think it's up by Nova Scotia in Canada. Well, I guess Nova Scotia is a part of Canada.
Well, Nova Scotia is in the east.
Yeah.
Yeah, way in the east. I used to know a guy from Nova Scotia.
In the east, yeah. Who's here? Who else is here? Otto, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Otto made it. Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody. Heard you talking about UFOs.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting you were talking about Canada. The first thing I think of is the disappearance of a fighter jet that was dispatched, I think was from the Kinross Air Force Base. There was a UFO sighted on radar near the Sioux Locks, up the Great Lakes. And they dispatched a fighter jet, U.S. fighter jet, and they were having trouble getting anything on their radar, but the tower had the blip, so it was directing them. And from what the report is, and this is very well documented, you could see the blip of the unidentified blip, right, the UFO, and you could see the blip of the jet fighter, and the two of them merged. And they thought, well, he just flew underneath it or flew over it. But then he didn't come out again, and the UFO blip just shot off, and they've never found the plane. And this is over the Great Lakes. They're not that deep. I mean, they are deep in places, but it's not the Marianas Trench. And They had, as you can imagine, the Canadian forces, the American forces, they were out searching. I mean, it's it's a jet fighter. It was like a, at the time, very cutting edge fighter plane, and it was right there in the Great Lakes. They had the radar tracking. They knew exactly where it disappeared. I don't think they've ever found a trace. They found a piece of wreckage years later that might possibly be from it, although I don't think they found any like distinctive serial numbers. And that was a very odd thing. And both men, there was a pilot and a radar operator in the jet, and both were declared dead eventually, but they've never found any wreckage. There was a spoof on the internet at one time, I forget how long ago it was, where someone claimed they'd found a radar image of the plane on the bottom, and they showed some AI generated thing, and everybody got excited until they figured out the place didn't exist. It was just a joke. But there are these incidents, and a lot of what they call UFOs, you got to think, well, is it a government, hoax? Is it something, a psychic manifestation? But anything that can make a fighter plane disappear seems pretty concrete to me.
Oh, you forget. Look what happened during World War. What do you call them? Old airplanes, the 5 to 6 ship. Yeah, Foo Fighters. No. I'm talking about during the time when they went to Florida. Flew out.
That was that Navy flight. Yeah. They kept sending weird radio transmissions back. They didn't know where they were. It was like they were all confused. It was like different terrain than they were supposed to be over.
Yeah, and then
I remember that.
Was shipped out to look for them, and that one even came up missing.
Yeah, that was I mean, I think it was a training mission, but I mean, they were good enough pilots to be out there, and they had an experienced guy leading them. But
they were all.
Yeah, I don't think they ever found a trace of them either. It's,
not even a part of a plane. Not even out of all 6 airplanes.
Yeah, you think there'd be a life vest floating around or something? They had like water survival gear and stuff.
Yeah,
life vests, and even if they die, they usually find some wreckage or an old vest or a raft or something.
What do you call that? The device that when you crash, it automatically gets alerted.
Well, we used to have these Mae West. It's like a vest, and it's got like a strobe light on it that goes off.
Yeah.
I don't know if that Mae West. They might have. I think that was just after World War II. So it was like in the late 40s, maybe 47. I forget though. I forget now what year that was. But we've got the internet here. We could probably look it up. See if I can find it.
You guys look it up. When I get home, I will be able to do some looking myself.
And during that time too, that about that time when they lost their nuclear bomb out of the back of an airplane, didn't you? And today it's still lost.
Oh, I found it. It was December 1945. So it was still the war. You were right.
Okay. Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale. It was out of Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's not off in in the Pacific or something. It's Florida. I mean, it's our own territorial waters.
Yeah. Well, 5 of them went out, and one went out to look for the other 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and they disappeared too.
Good boy. No panda.
And you know what? And the weird part about it is, like up here in Chicago, I don't know. I'm just going by what they're claiming too. Miniaturized triangle is up there. Okay.
I think I heard something about that.
Triangle, where ships would come up missing from there. They looked on in the bottom of it. Not a sign of a ship at all.
Wow. It happens.
Weird things happened.
Yeah, it happens.
And like in China, or the Dragon's Triangle, the government has told them right out, tell airplanes and boats, you do not never fly through that area at all.
Right.
they forbid it because if you do it, you take a risk of your own in your own hands.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's true. There are strange places on the earth
Yeah.
where it might be hazardous to go, but there's so much we don't understand yet. I always, when we think about people say, well, science can't explain it, it's not real, da 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 da. But I think, well, think about what science was like 200 years ago.
Yeah.
They didn't understand a lot then. They would call a lot of our science today magic or impossible. So who knows what we're going to learn that's going to make all this make a lot of sense to us.
Yeah, but what I've heard and all that about some of them science and people that was like going and looking for like at Egypt, okay, not all of them went to the point where some of them did go to, where when they find stuff like gold, silver, and all that,
right?
They would take it and siphon some of them off for their own personal, melt it down, whatever, and sell it.
Wow, that's a waste of artifacts.
Yeah, and that's what some of them did. And
yeah,
I'm not saying all of them are like that because I know quite a few. I don't know them personal, but for what they've found and all that, they did actually spend time and actually stuck with it. They
right.
just didn't get the artifacts, but the history of the artifacts.
Right.
I mean, to me, that's worth a lot too. Both. If you got,
you want
one.
Yeah, you want the knowledge. Yeah.
What good is the knowledge if you ain't got actually the thing to show it?
Well, there's that too. Yeah.
And people, but it's the same thing with science. Okay, they, like, well, what's his name here in the U.S.? That guy that runs the CDC.
Right.
Well, he just was on the news yesterday, and point blank told people who get money from the government for testing drugs and all that. Well,
right.
There's two drugs that he wasn't by no means very happy with the results of their testing. Shingles, and with another one, he says it don't go deep enough for side effects. The side effects of the drugs.
Right.
For what they say, don't go to the main point of where if you take it, what is the main, they more or less like pick out the least thing that will hurt you.
Yeah.
Not the important things like death, amputation of your legs or your groins.
Right.
Something like that I would want to know before I do take the
drug.
Yeah. And even if you're not into dating anybody, it's just the idea that you don't want your stuff being removed because of some doctor telling you this stuff's good for you, but don't know himself what is the side effects, the important side effects to it.
Well, that's true, and I remember when they had this one pill they had to pull because the side effects were so bad, and the doctors didn't even know because they hide the information.
Yeah.
Even from the doctor, and most doctors they really want to help their patients, but they're in the dark as much as anyone else.
Yeah. Well, you got
it's all about money.
Yeah, but you got to watch out for that. Okay, because some doctors, on the news they talk about some doctors they've been getting like kickbacks and all.
Oh yeah. You do get that.
Keeping information low key, Well, it's like this: if by you selling something to someone that it can harm them, but you don't tell them, and enough people buys that same product from you, and they're all winding up getting hurt from your product, something that you should have said something to